Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Imagine a media platform that reshapes the conversation, empowers your voice, and redefines the Bronx community. Bronx Post, changing the reality, changing the narrative. For businesses, politicians, and government agencies, we offer targeted advertising solutions that drive results. Amplify your message. Reach the heart of the Bronx and beyond. Our platform connects you to the community. Learn more. Email info@bronxpost.com or call 718-892-5555. Visit www.bronxpost.com for breaking news and updates. Bronx Post, changing the reality, changing the narrative.
Welcome to Talking Politics. My name is Robert Press. I am a reporter, as you can see by my official press card from the city of New York, and it says the Bronx Post on it because I write for the Bronx Post and the Parkchester Times. Both like this show, a part of Parrot Media Corporation. I also contribute to the Co-op City News and have a blog at www.100%.blogspot.com, where you can find more about what I say here, along with Facebook pages 100% and what is going on in your community board. The views expressed on the show are that of the host, any guest, or anyone who is commenting at the bottom of the screen, and not necessarily those of Parrot Media Corporation. Let's go to a weather report. Today, Friday, there will be a high of 39, which means that any snow out there should melt. Saturday, it'll get up to 44. It climbs to 46 on Sunday with 49 on Monday, and it may hit 50 on Wednesday. Now, there are mass layoffs in the federal workforce, and they have hit home here in New York City. City health officials confirmed that federal health agency layoffs included 7 staffers at the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention who were assigned to work with the city health department. Something that happened yesterday evening or yesterday afternoon, Governor Hochul said she will not attempt to remove New York City Mayor Eric Adams from office, at least for the time being. Instead, she's pursuing a 3-pronged approach, which I will get into later in the show, and it has a lot of Democratic lawmakers who are underwhelmed and pissed off. But like I said, we'll get into that later in the show. As far as the Ukraine goes, the U.S. and Russia took a major step towards softening relations between the frequent adversaries in talks Tuesday in Saudi Arabia. In the most detailed negotiations in more than 3 years, the Trump administration signaled a change from the past few years of the West seeking to isolate and punish Russian President Vladimir Putin for invading Ukraine. 3 major outcomes came. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that he and his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov, I'm not familiar in Russian, unfortunately, and other officials agreed to 1, normalize and build back staffing at their respective embassies. 2, work more closely on diplomatic ties and economic investment. And 3, create formal senior teams for peace talks in the Ukraine war. It's the last part of that, number 3, that has the most controversial, of course, but not the least because the Ukraine and its president, Vladimir Zelensky, weren't there. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz and Rubio indicated that the U.S. would consult with the Ukraine and its eastern allies, but negotiate directly with Russia, which the continent would surely find unacceptable. Rubio emphasized, though, that nobody was being excluded. The talks are being cast as fruitful. We not only listened, but also heard each other, said the Kremlin's man, just the beginning of a lengthy process. As far as the talks didn't really produce anything yet, there's hope for a Trump-Putin summit, although both sides are working towards that. No details have been worked out on that. And this seems to be a head-spinning reset of U.S.-Russian ties that has plunged to its lowest point in several decades. Vladimir Zelensky reacted angrily, postponing his trip to Saudi Arabia until next month. But back in Moscow, Russia erected hard-line demands, saying NATO must go back on its 2008 pledge to admit the Ukraine and in the future can't be involved in peacekeeping efforts. Now, in case you haven't heard, there was a plane crash on Monday in Toronto. A Delta flight 4819 flipped over on the runway at Toronto Pearson International Airport. In video, passengers can be seen hanging upside down in the cabin, being held into their seats only by their seatbelts. There were no warning signs for the passengers as the 76 passengers and 4 crew members approached a snowy airport, according to passenger John Nielsen. The winds were whipping pretty hard and the runways were snow-covered, he recounted. There was no warning as the plane's wheels touched down, hit the tarmac hard, extremely hard, with the aircraft propping slightly in the air and the entire plane leaning to the left and then finally coming to a stop. Nelson said that the cabin was suddenly quiet before the 80 people on board in the cabin attempted to make sense of what happened. They helped each other out. There were only 18 people injured who were taken to hospitals. They are all out of the hospitals now. Airport workers mounted a textbook response to reaching the site within minutes, said Deborah Flint, the president and CEO of the airport. This outcome is due to part of their heroic work, and I thank them profusely. At the time of the landing, winds were gusting up to 40 miles per hour, but the cause of the crash is still under investigation. As far as border czar Tom Homan, he's suggesting that Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez may be impeding federal immigration authorities from arresting and deporting illegal immigrants. Homan took issue with a webinar hosted by Ocasio's office earlier this week, explaining that tactics ICE authorities have been using in New York and to arrest immigrants in an apparent effort to help migrants avoid deportation. She produced that webinar. I sent an email today to the Deputy Attorney General. At what level is this impediment, Homan said of the webinar, an interview with Fox News' Laura Ingraham. Ocasio-Cortez did not participate in the Facebook webinar, during which immigrant rights advocates informed viewers recent ICE raids in the Empire State have taken place early in the morning in public places and have often involved unmarked ICE vehicles stopping cars as people drive to and from work. So we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll deport AOC. Who knows? Congestion pricing, while Hochul vows to sue Donald Trump's order to kill congestion pricing, people are celebrating and telling the governor she should give up on her plan to fight it. The federal government has the power of the purse, and billions of dollars are spent on federal transportation projects in New York State. Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman told Playbook, our state elected officials would be wise not to poke the bear when it comes to trying to overturn what is a common sense decision by the president and the secretary. This is a resounding victory for hardworking citizens of New York State. State Senator Minority Leader Rob Ort said in a statement Wednesday, I'm grateful for the fact that we have partners in the federal government and in the executive office and representatives in Congress who stand by and are willing to do the job the governor won't and protect our wallets of hardworking New Yorkers from crippling, out-of-touch Albany agendas. Now, here was the response to Donald Trump's banning congestion pricing. Governor Hochul had a press conference where she said, good afternoon, I'm joined by John Olibo, the chair of and CEO of the MTA, my counsel, and it was at 1:01 p.m. The U.S. Department of Transportation emailed us a letter from Secretary Duffy announcing their attempt to end congestion pricing program in the state of New York. And the 6 million people who use the MTA to get to their jobs and their lives, and their doctors and nurses, EMTs, and all those who need to get to their jobs in a reliable way, now they're going to be affected. I have to raise a question, she said. They look at the pretext for this rejection, and we have a lot of legal reasons why we know we're going to be victorious. But they actually cited the will of New Jersey. Now, New Jersey didn't want this, they say. I spoke to the president many times, she said, in a reasonable way, in a calm way. You're a New Yorker. You know how essential it is to have safe, reliable public transit, or else the system shuts down, our economy shuts down. And she said to the secretary, or I have to say to the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, it's not the real world, Sean. It's a real life in New York. We're in fight mode. Within seconds of us getting this notification, our MTA was prepared. We knew this could come and filed a lawsuit within minutes. I'm very confident we will be successful, and want to say that the cameras are staying on. That is, the cameras recording the license plates. We are keeping the cameras on. Over to city problems with New York City Mayor Eric Adams. He's met with at least 3 deputy mayors who have expressed their intention to resign from his administration. Now, it was a Zoom meeting aimed at convincing the senior aides to slow down any final decision on public disclosure of a departure plan, which could further destabilize the mayor's ability to hang on amid increasing calls for him to step aside. The mayor's spokeswoman, Kaya Malik, said that no deputy mayors have submitted resignations. Deputy Mayor Maria Torres Springer, Deputy Mayor for Operations Maria Joshi, and Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services Ann Williams Isom had already told the mayor of their intentions to step down during an in-person meeting at Gracie Mansion last week. The senior aides expressed concerns about their ability to serve in the mayor's administration after a controversial move by the Trump Justice Department to set aside criminal charges against Adams. A 4th deputy mayor, Chauncey Parker, who oversees public safety, has told the mayor's office of his desire to leave and was on the call. Now, NBC News was unable to reach Parker for comment, and a voice message was not immediately returned. Controller Lander sent a letter to Mayor Adams, by the way, requesting a contingency plan by today, was this Friday. If that is not done, Lander said he will seek to convene a meeting of the Inability Committee to remove Mayor Eric Adams. That's a committee of 5 or 6 people, of which the mayor has 2 people on there, one of his corporate counsels and another person, a deputy mayor, and the committee must vote 5 out of 6 to remove the mayor. So I doubt that if it happens that Comptroller Lander will be successful in anything. Now, here is what Governor Hochul said on this, as far as the deputy mayor is resigning since taking office in 2021. I've done everything possible to partner with the city of New York under the leadership of 2 different mayors. We've worked together to fight crime on the streets and subways, close illegal cannabis shops, and build more housing through the city of yes. That bickering between state and city officials is a waste of time, and I refuse to go back to the days where our constituents are caught in the middle in the crossfires of political wars. She said she spoke with the deputy mayors. She spoke, and her administration partners with across dozens of key issues. If they feel they are unable to serve in City Hall at this time, that raises serious questions about the long-term future of the mayoral administration. She recognizes the immense responsibility that she holds as governor and the constitutional powers granted to her in the 235 years of New York State history. These powers have never been utilized to remove a duly elected mayor. Overturning the will of the voters is a serious step that should not be taken lightly. That said, the alleged conduct at City Hall has been reported over the past 2 weeks is troubling and cannot be ignored. I have asked key leaders to meet me at her Manhattan office for a conversation about the path forward with the goal of ensuring stability for the city of New York. Now, Mayor Adams on Wednesday went into court before Judge Dale Ho. Now, as he was entering, there were people cheering him, like former state senator Ruben Diaz Jr., who was yelling 4 more years. Yes, Malcolm Gray, hello. I don't know how, Attorney General Imal Bove an ally of President Trump, was in court, and he was the sole attorney representing the Department of Justice at a table previously occupied by assistant U.S. attorneys in Manhattan, who up until recently led the prosecution against Adams. But Bove himself, along with 2 DOJ attorneys, signed a motion to dismiss. At the same time, Adams may be let off a trial that was slated to start in April. His political future is in freefall, in large part due to his alignment with the Trump administration. They've been calls that he's the vice president of the country, a MAGNA mayor. Plenty of protesters lined the courthouse also on Wednesday. There were 2 overflow courtrooms that were open so they could accommodate members of the press and the public. No, I was not there, unfortunately. Asked why the DOJ was committing to stopping any additional investigation steps into Adams, Bove said no. In the trial, in the initial memo to the Manhattan prosecutors directing them to request the charges be dismissed. However, Bove said there should be no further targeting of Mayor Adams or additional investigation steps until the review was completed after the November mayoral election. The judge is now going to deliberate a little bit, think about this, and he will get back in probably sometime next week. It is time for me to go to a break, and I'll come back with some more news. I'll come back with Governor Hochul's plan on what she pretends to do with the mayor. Okay, so let's go to a commercial now, and I'll be back with some more information. I see our commercial isn't ready, so let me continue then. Advocates, activists, and elected officials have gathered one day at City Hall.
Imagine a media platform that reshapes the conversation, empowers your voice, and redefines the Bronx community. Bronx Post, changing the reality, changing the narrative. For businesses, politicians, and government agencies, we offer targeted advertising solutions that drive results. Amplify your message. Reach the heart of the Bronx and beyond. Our platform connects you to the community. Learn more. Email info@bronxpost.com or call 718-892-5555. Visit www.bronxpost.com for breaking news and updates. Bronx Post, changing the reality, changing the narrative.
Okay, welcome back. As I said, there have been calls for Adams to resign. This comes after him wanting to open up the ICE office back on Rikers Island. The public advocate Jumaane Williams, who was next in succession for mayor, pointed out Trump's hold on Adams, signaling a weakening of the city government. This is the most powerful city in the country, one of the most powerful mayors in the country. And if the Trump White House can do that to this man, what is the message that is sent to other cities and every other mayor who wants to protect their residents of the city? Now, State Attorney General has hinted that Democrats are debating collective action regarding Mayor Adams, but she refused to disclose further details. She called Daniel Sasson, the Manhattan prosecutor, who quit in protest of the orders to drop the mayor's fraud case, a profile in courage. Asked about the mayor, her fellow Brooklyn Democrat, James said at this point there's a number of discussions going on at the state level, discussion going on at the local level, and private discussion. James wields influence in the Adams saga as one of the most highest-ranking black elected officials. We're going to refrain from making any comments until such time as we complete these discussions to determine the fate of the mayor in the city of New York, she told reporters. Now, what is Governor Hochul doing? Governor Hochul yesterday proposed new actions to restore public trust in New York City government with sweeping expansion of state oversight and new guardrails to ensure accountability and protect New Yorkers. These actions will require legislative action and would take effect immediately upon passage. To move the city forward, I am undertaking the implementation of certain guardrails that I believe are a first start towards reestablishing trust for New York City residents, Governor Hochul said. These proposed guardrails will help ensure that all decisions out of City Hall are in the clear interest of the people of New York City and not that at the behest of the president. She wants to put a new special inspector general for New York City affairs and protection for city commissioner of investigation. A new city special inspector general will be established within that office. The inspector general for New York City affairs will receive updates and information directly from the New York City Department of Investigations about corruption investigations, and will also be able to direct the New York City Department of Investigation to commence investigations across city government. She wants to empower citywide elected leaders to utilize federal litigation. Under this governor's plan, the governor's plan, the city controller, the council, public advocate will be given explicit authority to bring litigation against the federal government using outside counsel of the city's law department if the city's law department declines to do so promptly after a request. Such litigation could be filed against any federal government agency or entity. The action will ensure that New Yorkers have multiple avenues to initiate legal action in cases where the rights or freedoms of New York City residents are under attack by the federal government. She wants to strengthen oversight at the New York City finances, given the unprecedented breach and number of executive orders and other policy documents and notices issued by the Trump administration. The governor is proposing additional funds for the Office of the State Controller of the City of New to support the state's existing ability to continue to monitor the city and its finances in this complex environment. The state would expand the Office of Deputy State Controller for City Oversight. New funding would be paid using New York City tax receipts. These new resources will enable state officials to more closely monitor New York City's financial operations and take any actions needed based on such review. Now, I don't know about you, but this reminds me of former Mayor Abe Beame when the state took over the city. I don't know if that's what the governor's plan is or not. Now, Mayor Eric Adams has released a statement after Governor Hochul provided her announcement. He said, "I was elected by the people of the city of New York and its working class communities to uphold their values." And that is what our administration has done. While there is no basis for limiting New York's powers by limiting the authority of my office, I have told the governor, as we have done in the past, that I am willing to work with her to ensure faith in our government is strong. I look forward to continuing those conversations. Well, it appears that Attorney General Letitia James is making calls to get support for current Speaker Adrian Adams to run for mayor. The latest draft Adams campaign picked up at caucus weekend in Albany last week. The Speaker's sprinted speech received an award at the gathering of lawmakers of color, earned the chant, "Run, Adrian, run." Some in the crowd, including James and public advocate Jumaane Williams, made a point of being heard, according to the audio on the speech. Now, if Mayor Adams was removed, Jumaane Williams, the public advocate, would take over as temporary mayor until, depending on when it happens, if it happens before the primary, there would be a special election. If it happens after the primary, for instance, on July 1st, then you would have Mayor Jumaane Williams until the end of the year. Okay, so let's go to a problem here in the Bronx. Mayor Adams was in the Bronx yesterday. Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes, AJ. Mayor Adams came to the hub along with Bronx Borough President Vanessa Gibson, Councilman Salamanca, who represents the area, and Assemblywoman Amanda Septimo, who represents the area. He was talking about the drug problem on East 149th Street. This has been an issue that has been raised over and over again. When you look at what has taken place at the hub, it was really Councilman Salamanca who was sharing with me earlier. It's really something that just has sort of moving the problem around, kicking the can down the road. And that road has a dead end here in the administration because we want to respond to this issue. You just can't walk by people injecting themselves with drugs, people who are dealing with mental health, and people who are creating dangerous environments for residents of the city. Public safety is a prerequisite of our prosperity. Every New Yorker deserves a safe place for their families, a safe place for their community, and not just their own neighborhood, but in every neighborhood throughout the city. Issues like illegal vending and overflowing trash, substance abuse, scaffolding, and unlicensed cannabis shops and more have persisted far too long, and we have taken real steps to correcting these issues. And one of the most important initiatives that we have put in place is Community Link program with a joint agency operation that addresses substance abuse, homelessness, outreach, and maintaining street cleanliness along Melrose Avenue. The community here in the Bronx said it wanted a safer and better quality of life approach to their community, and we're delivering it for them. The initiative builds bridges between the cities and agencies and leaders of local communities. As this initiative has made an impact in the city since its inception, over the last 19 months, Community Link has responded to 1,200 complaints and conducted over 1,200 operations to address the quality of life raised by communities that they serve. These are the results that we're looking for. These are the results we are getting, and adding this to the hub network will address the complex, chaotic, chronic complaints and improve public safety in Hunts Point, Mott Haven, and in those neighborhoods of the Bronx. The sanitation department has increased trash collections of public garbage cans in the area to 3 times per day, and the announcement builds on a recent achievement in reducing crime in New York City. We will continue to stay vigilant and making our city the safest big city in America, as we have taken over more than 20,000 illegal firearms from our streets since the beginning of his administration. Mayor Adams said, each gun that is taken off the street, it stops the potential of taking the life of an innocent person. He said, that is what we do at this level, and we want to continue to move fast and with a steadfast approach of bringing public safety to this community, and the hub on our list of cleaning up the hub finally with this community asked for. On a totally different subject, State Controller Tom DiNapoli says thousands of laptops, desktop computers, hard drives, monitors, and other tech equipment is unaccounted for in the state's Office of Information Technology Services, and the agency is routinely destroying new and barely used tech equipment instead of donating it or selling it. Those are the findings in a new audit by the Controller Thomas DiNapoli. The audit found that some of the 83 ITS equipment stockrooms have lax security measures, making the state gear vulnerable to tech or cyber security breaches. In a statement, the Office of Chief Communications Officer Scott Reef responded to the audit. While we recognize there is always room for improvement, it is important to note that the ITS does have a robust controls in place and security in place to protect its assets. He said, we recently established a specific and dedicated IT assistant management team, which is now responsible for ensuring assets are accounted for during every step of the asset life cycle. In addition, we are implementing a new and more comprehensive asset management policy, and we will routinely update to reflect the complex and ever-revolving asset environment we support and manage on behalf of 57 state agencies. There are a couple of items before I go. Now, let me go to this item because these came in just before. With his administration in turmoil, Mayor Adams has considered making controversial attorney Randy Mastro, who was supposed to be Mayor Adams, put him up for general counsel, but the city council shot him down. He's looking to bring him as a top deputy mayor at City Hall now. And former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is preparing to launch a widely anticipated campaign. It's being reported for New York City mayor by early March. Former New York State Controller Carl McCall endorsed the unannounced candidate for mayor, so we'll have to wait till, say, the first week of March to see if former Governor Cuomo does run. Tuesday night, February 25th, 7 p.m., is a public hearing at the Nat Silverberg Fieldhouse, 915 Hutchinson River Parkway on the Monsignor Scanlon campus. Parking is limited. It is being done by Community Board 10. It's proposed, but Bally's is proposing to build a casino and hotel at 500 Hutchinson River Parkway. at Ferry Point, which is the City of New York Parks Department. 17 and a half acres of parkland is going to have to be alienated. Bally's is only proposing to pay $100 million when only 12 acres in Van Cortlandt Village was sold, or given. The city had to pay $230 million. So Bally's is getting a terrific deal, but of course they're represented by former state senator Jeff Klein, and at a community meeting in the Morris Park Community Association, Stanley Schlein, the counsel for the Bronx Democratic Party, he was sitting there too advising. People are asked by Community Board 10 to come to the meeting Tuesday, February 25th at Monsignor Scanlon's campus, the Nat Silverberg Fieldhouse, 915 Hutchinson River Parkway. And I'm going to close with this because last night Community Board 11 held its leadership committee meeting. The chair of Community Board 11, Cynthia Rodriguez, said that I posted a falsehood in reference to my complaint against a Community Board 11 board member who posted confidential information about me, who the district manager of Community Board 11 admitted at a ethics committee meeting that he gave her the screenshot of that posting. Ms. Rodriguez, you do not know the reason why it was posted, and posted so that the error from the borough president's office wasn't shown. So now, Ms. Rodriguez, the chair of Community Board 11, and borough president Vanessa Gibson, I tried to hide this and not embarrass the borough president's office, but the chair of Community Board 11 has said that I put up a falsehood because I was trying to protect the borough president's office and not put up the error that came from the borough president's office. So there you go. That's why it wasn't showed and just the top was posted. It was also posted because Councilwoman Christy Marmorato was trying to get me on that board, someone who has many years of experience, which Community Board 11 is totally lacking. I was under the impression the borough president listened to the councilwoman, but now we know later that it was a screw up by the borough president's office. And I hate to say that, Borough President Gibson, but your Community Board 11 chair, Cynthia Rodriguez, forces me to say that. And now I demand a public apology from you, Ms. Rodriguez, at the next full board meeting. And I'm going to say thank you for watching, and I'm going to sign off. And you will see me at the Community Board 11 meeting demanding a public apology from Community Board 11 Chair Cynthia Rodriguez. So thank you for watching, and come to the Community Board 11 meeting at Lubin Hall. It's Thursday, next Thursday, 7 p.m. And thank you for watching. And
imagine a media platform that reshapes the conversation, empowers your voice, and redefines the Bronx community. Bronx Post, changing the reality, changing the narrative. For businesses, politicians, and government agencies, we offer targeted advertising solutions that drive results. Amplify your message. Reach the heart of the Bronx and beyond. Our platform connects you to the community. Learn more. Email info@bronxpost.com or call 718-892-5555. Visit www.bronxpost.com for breaking news and updates. Bronx Post, changing the reality, changing the narrative.
In a world where the quality of information available to poorer communities is doctored, tainted, and sometimes regressive, where the words fake news have come to mean other people's opinions, it is vital to rely on news platforms with journalists who have feet on the ground and can report the truth. New York Parrot, a New York-based national and global news outlet, is changing the narratives of media operations. We focus on the news that matters, like self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, finances, health, security, politics, and more. We strive to curb violence, racial and economic discrimination, and to promote peace and socio-economic development of multiculturally diverse world. As we give voice to the people, we also give your business a voice and make it heard. Get your product and services off the ground by advertising on our fast-growing platform. With so much of daily visits to New York Parrot, you can't afford to be invisible to prospective clients on the websites they trust the most. Our posts reach millions of people across the New York State and around the world. Advertising on our new site will unlock an audience of thousands of potential customers on your doorstep. New York Parrot is born to prosperously speak tomorrow for the voiceless.
Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV.